Radiant team ban.
Well, hello, folks, and welcome back. We're getting ready to dive into game number 2 of the C playoffs here for the Manila Major. It's TNC versus Mineski. I'm here with Purge again. I'm Coddle Guy, and, well, game number 1 got pretty epic there at the end. TNC, at the start, it felt like a Mineski kind of a game. Then TNC got that huge first Roche fight where they were, like, late, but they're like, you know what, we're going to fight anyways.
Yeah.
And they won.
And they baited it perfectly.
And they're like, you know what? And then we'll continue to take the game from here. Mineski tried their best with tactical split pushing and pressure elsewhere to divert attention, but man, that last hurrah for TNC. They went in for the win and they got it.
We got like everything we wanted to see. Both teams had 5-man wipes, gold advantages for both teams, split push against the team that's winning, and then we saw a little bit of a base race. Like, it was a very high-level game, really fun to watch.
So game 2 should be pretty boring. Let's hop into it right now. Here's the draft. We'll see if that is going to be the case or not. I anticipate not here, but TNC, man, they've only still dropped just that one game, so a very impressive performance for a team that was coming out of even the open qualifiers at that. So here we go. Early bans. It looks like Mineski are going to be the team with the first pick. They rid the Lich, as you said, something that all these teams rid of at the start. They get rid of the Beastmaster, Alchemist, and Doom going to be taken out from TNC. But Mineski, with their first pick Purge, they grab up the Enchantress, and TNC's response, we're going to be seeing another Slardar Witch Doctor.
Yeah. What was their opening last game?
For Mineski?
Yeah, because it's the same draft for TNC. They went Slardar Witch Doctor.
I
don't remember what Let's go through their heroes. It wasn't Invoker because he was picked second to last. Their safe lane was...
It wasn't a bad because he was last pick. I can take that one out for you.
You're right. Their other support was Avenge. I think it might have been Venge.
I think Venge was in there.
It was like Venge +1. What was their carry? Ember Spirit, but he was third pick, I believe.
Third. So who is
We're narrowing it down. Who's the last hero? Where are we watching the last game?
We're pros here.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
what was that carry?
What was that other, quote, carry? Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet was in the first phase, Purge.
Yeah, you're right. It was Venge. It was Venge NP.
Venge Prophet. Okay. All right, guys.
It was NP first pick, Venge second. I'm guessing something like that.
Yeah, that's
all right. I like this a little better. I mean, I think MP is a very good hero, but the space that Enchantress can create is really strong in the early game, and she sort of transitions well as a carry now. I honestly, I'm actually quite happy with her Enchantresses right now. Yeah. It's like people aren't just picking her because she's OP at everything. Good at jungling, good at roaming, good at offlane. DPS mid game's amazing. DPS late game is OP. It's like now you're like, there's one thing I want to do with Enchantress. I want to be good early game. Like that's what it does. It's good at pressuring jungles, lots of things. It makes me less angry when she gets picked now, basically.
So are you saying that, I'm just going to act like I don't know anything really about how the meta shifted a bit. Is it because now Enchantress's late game's fallen off a bit due to 6.87 and all?
That impetus damage, dude, it's not the same as it used to be.
Like, even with the benefit of something like a crazy-ass Hurricane Pike, it's just not cool. That's what all the cool kids are odd-shotting and YouTubing these days, is Hurricane Pike Enchantress plays.
It would have been obscene in the previous patch what Hurricane Pike does now, but they just capped out her damage. You know, she got a 1% nerf on damage at all levels, so by the time you're level 3, you're only doing 22% damage from range instead of 25, and they capped the max range, I believe. They capped that damage lower. It was something like, I don't know, 400 instead of like 600 pure. That's like so much damage. 600 pure damage is like an 800 damage nuke, basically. So if you're just tossing those away at long range, you could like 3-shot a support. Now it's like 4 or 5 or something. That just is a huge difference in terms of balance. So she needed that. Vengeful Spirit still going on Mineski this game. They've also got a puck. And TNC continues with their straightforward draft. Jug, Witch, Dr. Slardar. Everything they need to do.
Got a good thing going. Why not change it? Has that always been their motto? That's something I expect from teams like Secret. Secret was like, we got a good thing here. We're not switching unless you ban it out.
I don't completely agree with that because I feel like Secret's the one team that's like, let's do weird but dumb, like good stuff, but really weird drafts.
Well, I'll say Secret maybe a la Frankfurt Major. We're like that for sure. Latest Secret. I haven't watched too much. They've only played like once, right?
Yeah, it was just ESL Manila.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be more frisky and fun.
I think if you wanted to look at a team that is very one-dimensional, you would say no diggity. But you haven't caught any EU because nearly clear. Obviously, you're doing the other side of the world.
Yeah, I mean,
but they're like Enigma first phase every game.
Every game.
I don't know if teams don't ban, but I've seen TNC do some cool stuff with their draft. They're very clearly they know how the heroes work. They know how to adjust around them, and their opening is just how do you deal with this? Juggernaut, good at lanes. Tons of physical damage, can score with team fight ultimates. You can adjust his item build. Slardar, great stuns. You can play him carry, you can play him off lane, you can hypothetically play him mid. All three of these heroes they drafted here all do physical damage, so they're all benefited from amp damage. Witch Doctor adjusts to so many heroes, including Beastmaster, Nature's Prophet, etc. So it makes it hard for their opponents to play against a little bit. Like, they're very effective at what they do. And Witch Doctor is pretty good against Enchant as well, because your cast stuns creeps for 5 seconds instead of the 1 on a hero. So I like their opening here. I have a lot of faith that they're going to be able to execute it. I guess Puck does kind of deal with it well, though. The ulti against Slardar is quite good. Silence is great against Jug as well. So with that said, I do like the Puck pick. I think this is a good potential solution for Mineski here.
Very elusive, could avoid the trouble, certainly. I'm going to pull out a random hero that I don't see is picked anymore, but I know you've been watching a lot of C, and I have to pose the question, why no Earth Spirit at all? Totally ignored. Like, both games, I believe, and they just...
I mean, I assume you played him a little bit since this Boulder Smash change.
It's not that great.
I think it's the same speed as a Rolling Boulder without a Remnant, right? It feels like about there, and that skill is real slow. Like, I keep seeing it happening. Like, you would see Earth Spirit played last patch. Like, nobody ever misses Boulder Smash. They would always hit the snipes. Now, they're just not used to it yet, and I think that's part of it.
It just, like, floats.
Yeah, they go for these, like, long-range Boulder Smashes, they're way off. It looks like some 3K player throwing an arrow, you know?
Yeah, just step aside, like, is that Boulder coming? I think it's coming. Let me just move a bit.
Stand still for a little bit, please? Like,
it's bad, and he just moves slower in general, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right, he did get a move speed.
It's, like, down to, like, 290 or 295 or something.
295,
it's really bad. I mean, yeah, you got Rolling Boulder to help with move speed, but you're never going to max Rolling Boulder early, so you always have a long cooldown, so you have to save him for your gank. So when you're trying to move from mid lane to top lane, and maybe you're not getting that first successful roll in the mid lane, you're like, well, I got to change course and go to the bottom lane. It's going to take that much longer, and it's just so annoying. And we know this hero falls up on the XP so fast, he can't farm worth a shit. It's just, it's a shame. Maybe teams are like, you know what, maybe that was enough. I felt like that was a hard nerf. Maybe people are getting on board with that too.
It was pretty big for sure, but I think it's putting him finally in a place where, I mean, I didn't think Earth Spirit was OP like 2 patches ago, and I agree with the nerfs. Like, at this point, I'm like, yeah, do you really need 4 different ways to initiate? Now it's very reliant on hitting your boulder. If you hit your Rolling Boulder, you're fine. The Boulder Smash doesn't matter how slow it is, because it's a melee stun, basically, in a lot of ways. And I think that was maybe kind of how it needed to be. You can still, like, rapidly silence from range, but the rapid stun from range, while difficult before, it was still pretty straightforward with a good player. For a good player, it was basically a targeted stun.
Yeah.
And so it was just a little bit too broken still, unfortunately. So
all right, let's talk about this draft, though. So we got a Slark now. So TNC have changed up a bit. We're not going to be seeing that crazy farm Gyrocopter. It wasn't even banned. They're just like, you know what? Gyrocopter was cool, but we could do the same cool work on a Slark, and then Mineski fire back and have a Faceless Void. So we'll be seeing our first Faceless Void of the day.
TNC has been dabbling in Slark a little bit. They did it the other day. They did this cool draft where they picked 2 normal heroes first, and then they banned out Venge and Oracle. No Bat in the game, no Bat ban. Their opponents picked Bat, like in the 4th pick, and they went Slarkobaton. So then they had, and they also had their opponents had a jungling Beastmaster as well. So they already had a Beastmaster, so they're like, oh, we need Dispels to counter stun. So they were like, please pick Batrider.
Oh, that's
nice. And they picked Batrider, and then they had these 2 heroes that were just like amazing at stopping the ganks. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, jungling Beastmaster isn't good if you don't get kills. Like, you're like, okay, you're 6, that's great, man, but all of a sudden Dark Pact off one of those roars and his gank is wasted and Beastmaster goes back to jungle. It was really cool. So I like it this game because there are a decent amount of disables.
Yeah.
Mainly the Puck Venge. And Puck is still good against Slark in a lot of cases, but I think Slark is a decent solution against these. They still have 3 melees, which seems weird, but they're making it work with their skill. Now that's a weird pick.
That's an interesting pick. Have we been seeing any Luna?
Almost none. I think I saw him once in an open qualifier game, maybe that I took a gander at, but that was maybe 2 days ago. Her buffs in the last patch were a agility game buff, so she's slightly better as a carry. But I don't think this is the best Luna game I've ever seen. I don't really like her versus Juggernaut, since Omni Slash clearly kills fairly tanky agility cores. Slardar's kind of the same thing. Both of them kind of deal with Luna well, but if those heroes aren't spinning, then Eclipse is amazing. So maybe it'll work, but I don't really like Luna that much against Slark either. But they can push. They got that going for them. Luna, Venge, right there you're talking like 50 damage. It's like a Drow Aura basically if you're 5-manning. So if they can get like 6 on this Luna and take a lot of towers, then it'll be good for them. And it's good too because they're on Radiant. Radiant usually wants to take more towers than Dire does. So they've got the heroes for it. Great team fight as well. Puck, Void, Luna. Venge to save the Luna in a lot of cases. They could always like swap mid Omni Slash, so maybe it'll work out. Kind of cool.
And then the final response was a Rubik, which almost feels like it's just because is it because there's a plethora of great options now available on the table here from the side of Mineski? You got the Luna Eclipse, the Chrono, of course, for your from your Faceless Void. Swap Stun's beautiful. Lots of the puck spells are wonderful to get a hold of. We don't get to see it very often, but maybe in a game like this, it's just hard to pass up on this kind of opportunity.
Yeah, I would agree. And there's one other big thing. The buff to no field, the 1-point wonder skill, 10% magic resistance.
Was that this patch? This patch passed?
Yes.
Patch?
Yep, he just got the 10%. The thing that everybody's been complaining about for like months, they're like, this skill is so awful with 1 skill point, and they were right. But now it's 10, pretty good with 1. So maybe like a point at 8 or something like that. Probably wouldn't get a pre-6, but you know, with Eclipse doing a lot of magic damage, that stuff can add up. Especially if somebody gets like a pipe on the team. I don't know who's going to. Probably Slar. Last game he was very utility. He went like Tranquil Boots, Blink, Force, and then he got Crimson Guard. So maybe instead of Crimson, they'll pick up Pipe instead. But against Eclipse, you very often do need a good way to deal with that ultimate because it wrecks you too hard. Manta and Jug will help, but Witch Doctor is going to be pretty vulnerable to it. He'll probably go standard Luna build, as much as I'd love to see like Ag's Refresher. That build's scary, man.
Is TNC changing up the roles too? I mean, I'm seeing Raven now on the Jug, Teehee on the Slark.
They're pretty good at rotating. I've seen them do a lot of weird things. But SamH was offlane last game, so maybe it's mostly rotations between their 2 mid heroes, but I have a lot of faith in these guys. You can see it when they play. They have extremely high individual skill in all their players. I checked some of their profiles. They're all like low 7Ks, like 7 to 7.3Ks of all the profiles I could see. Wow. And these are all C players as well, so that's pretty difficult to go that high in C generally.
Well, as it is now, they do a early, very aggressive 5-man smoke. The smoke pops, but cast in a nice position.
They've got boots. They can maybe do this.
Oh, they're going for it. AU gets in close enough for the telekinesis, and Raging Potato is like, I want to help, but I can't. There's 5 of them. There's 1 of you. He's dead. So it's going to be a quick and easy first blood here for TNC. They have to have a deep dive to commit for it. First blood is going to be going to Raven.
That's actually kind of hilarious that they got that kill because this tower was moved to the right for the benefit of the Radiant, and it didn't pay off there because they would have been tower diving if the tower was in its normal position there. So that was unfortunate for him. Oh, they might actually catch the Enchantress.
They're pinging it. Oh,
okay.
She has to TP.
That's all right. 50 gold, and she stole a bounty rune.
That's right. So cheap now.
Net 30, space created.
No problem.
And I guess they're TPing top. This actually wasn't bad at all for TNC. They pretty much get to the lanes on time. They get the first blood. They're gonna be happy with this overall movement. They blocked the small camp too.
So Slark mid lane against Puck Purge. Not a matchup I see every day.
Yeah, why is Witch Doctor suiciding? Probably to TP to the top lane, I'm guessing.
Sacrifice.
I'm a little confused about this one.
I don't think he's gonna win this one.
Get him!
Well, he tried. He's down.
And Rosh is already full HP. It wasn't worth it.
Not at all.
Yeah, I think he's going top because they want to try to zone the void. They don't want to put him in a 1v1 versus Slar. It'd be all right for Slar, but okay, he's actually going to the bot lane. I literally have no idea why.
Why did he do that?
He was missing half of his mana due
to
like paralyzing cask.
Well, last game he was free to get up the cast just for a Treon Protector at the start of the game. This time he's like, no, absolutely not. I'll kill myself. I want my mana back. They go for, hey, you know what? He comes right back in for a possible kill, though. You know what? Was that a mind game? I don't want to say, like, maybe he was bottom. Now, hold on there. They are going to be able to get the kill. And look at this. Raven now under some pressure. Enchantress shows up, but it looks like they'll make a safe getaway. Maybe I could be overthinking this purge, but what if they saw Witch Doctor bottom lane, he kills himself, and they figure he will TP somewhere else? He doesn't. He shows up, and they make a gank happen with him. Who really knows at the end of the day? But no response will be had here from Mineski. They commit their own 3 towards this bottom lane in hopes of maybe getting a bit of a response, but they're not going to grab an infection. Enchantress continues to even move her way deep into enemy territory to go for, a nice little Satyr camp.
You might be right, honestly, but
that is just, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, like.
But they had a lane ward, so it's like they saw it coming.
Too.
I don't think they smoked for that. So I kind of like the idea against high level players where they're actually predicting space and movements on the map. Like, yeah, that sounds like a cool play, but the chances of that just getting spotted by a ward just seems so weird. He suicided himself and lost about 100 gold, 1 for the TP and the 50 in his pool. for like 150 mana. I don't know, I'll have to rewatch it again, the replay maybe, because maybe there's another clue, but confusing move. But I trust the players to only do smart things, because this team is very good.
And they're quite far in the C qualifier, so they got to be doing something right here. But the bottom lane is the one we're going to be trying to keep our eyes on the most, as it still continues to be this kind of 3-on-3 here. But I do want to just check out what's happening elsewhere in the world. The Puck versus Slark mid lane matchup is actually nearly a break even as far as CS. 13-13 can be a bit of a surprise on that one.
Yeah.
Top lane, though, Void and Slard, our two offlaners, end up in a bit of a win-win for themselves. The Void, though, especially 18-2 CS, the top in the game right now, while Slard are at a 13-1. So both of them will quickly get to their level 6, and they'll get some nice farm to begin things out. We'll be seeing these crushes and these chronospheres come out sooner than later.
Should be a lane win for Faceless Void, usually in a 1v1. He's actually not maxing out Time Walk. Usually more Void players will do that now, since the buff to the damage scaling on that skill. But
yeah.
he's just playing it safe. Lower Time Walk by 6, which is ultimately going to make him a better support or better offlane in the mid game.
More damage with that Mighty Bash right there too.
Yeah. It's like almost impossible to kill Slar anyways. Like, he's got a stun and he can guaranteed run faster than you, so chasing him down's very difficult. Probably just playing it safe.
So we're not going to be expecting too much crazy action between that lane and even this middle lane. Maybe once the level 6s start coming on here, as Puck is about to reach his level 5, Slark is right there with her. So very neck and neck on that front. But at bottom here, AU strides forward in hopes of getting a grab on Cass, but that's not going to be the case. And well, Potato hanging out on the outskirts here. Regens a bit with the help of that Satyr, and they get back in the grind, but this seems to be a lane win for TNC at the moment. But now they make their move for Cuckoo.
Oh, they missed
Magic
on
Missile.
Enchant. Oh,
and
they messed
the ward is going to be fine. He steps off, he heals up, he's good. And because of that misplay, it looks like they're not going to be able to get the kill.
That was so big for Enchant. I think he got messed with by Rubik at the same time or something.
Looks like it, yeah.
And he pulled his Satyr away as the gank was starting. I guarantee you that with Shockwave, they would have killed him.
All too convenient right there. This Witch Doctor is doing some ridiculous stuff this game, but it's continuing to work out nicely for him. And TNC have yet to have a scratch on their record for this one. So Jug continues to farm up. He's at 18-5 here. When you put that in comparison to the Luna, 14-2 as the core on the other side. Not too shabby.
Man, that kill loss was quite big, because Luna's had a really tough time in this lane. They finally got regain of their small camp here, and that's going to give Luna some free levels and some supports as well, some needed farm, but a kill would have gone a long way there towards giving them more advantage. So tough off lane here. It's not uncommon for TNC to do aggressive dual lanes or aggressive tri lanes, and I like that they do them. They do them in very smart ways. It's not like the what you typically expect in a lot of C teams, where they just kind of like do crazy aggressive things, similar to like the Peruvian playstyle. They're like, we're just gonna run at him, do crazy stuff, and I'll play him, because they practice that a lot.
Yeah.
But these are just like very smart, aggressive lanes where they have the lane advantage, and it limits their farm, and they usually transition it well in mid game due to good movement.
And they're not going to risk being caught out, because it doesn't seem like they have some side vision here with this deeper obs ward on the side of TNC, but if they get too close, they will be forced to pull back, which they did right there. So this is continuing. I think it's frustrating for Mineski. They are going to drop their own sentry, which will get that camp back.
It doesn't block. Sorry, I thought that one was block worthy. The only sentry they did, yeah.
Doesn't look like it. Oh, I can see the spawn boxes too. Okay, it's a spectator, but he gets it right out of the corner.
Yeah, very close. They tried to lift the Luna here. Really good movement speed on her. Maybe kill him. No.
Nah, just eats a little bit of nuking damage, and they continue to play footsie, but really no movement here, except for Teehee. Teehee is making an adventure, possibly. Sees Jules. Hi, how you doing, ma'am? Jumps in, gets off the pact. Tries to go for the right click, but it ain't going to be easy because of that ridiculous untouchable, even at level 1. He'll pounce up and over and head back to Grandma's house.
I really like Teehee's Slark, actually. I think it was him that played it mid the same game that I was talking about. He plays it mid, and he does super good rotations. Like, he's not just, like, too focused on farming, for example. He will occasionally rotate, do some pressure, possibly get some kills. And by doing that, it makes such a big impact compared to what you normally see out of Slarks. Like, Slarks usually are, like, free farm for 10 minutes, then buy an item that transitions me into getting kills. But this guy gets it done without, like that was a bootsless gank. And it didn't get something done, but it was kind of close. Like, if the opportunity was there, he would have gotten a kill. So he will chance some CS sometimes for the goal of getting kills.
But now he's in trouble. With the assistance coming in from Jules, they drop the coil, but he is level 6. He has that Shadow Dance, and he makes it away from trouble. So I guess he's not really in in too much trouble at that point. He makes it away, and the puck is not going to be able to get a kill with that first big coil of the game. But the puck had been getting a lot as far as the lane goes. At 49 and 14, now 50, matching up to the Slark. This is where the puck is taken over.
Yeah, he's super farmed in comparison to what the Slark has.
Yeah.
But even still, Slark can get a kill here or there. It's going to be really effective. He's also got a TP ready in case there is an engagement somewhere. Slardar looking like he's having trouble top a bit. If he gets bashed, surely that'll proc the infused raindrop, I'm guessing. I do like that he picked one up in the safe lane as Star, though. Oh, there's a fight bot.
Yep, Casp moves into Deathman's Alley here. Is going to get lifted up, pulled back into a spinning little Blade Fury, and Raven's going to get it, but here comes Faceless Boy. Drops down the Chrono, and they go right for Cuckoo, and they'll be able to take him down. A 1-for-1 trade between supports here, and even Puck rotating in. Still needs 10 seconds if he wants to have the coil up and ready to go. Raven, who's still just sporting level 5, looks to make a retreat. Has his ward up in front, but no extra mana to go for it. But he's got the wand, and now he'll be good. We'll have Blade Fury in case there's any trouble, but he makes it out.
Yeah, Slar was not able to stun the Void there. A little slightly surprising. I didn't see what the lane positioning was like, but man, I just love the infused raindrop here on Slar. There's so many carries that like just can't get a good mana regen on them. They don't want to commit to it in the laning stage, but this one's just going to be so useful.
Yeah, plus the fact if like a roaming Vengeful Spirit comes in with a magic missile, he'll be able to shrug it off a little bit. That's
pretty much
nice.
all of it, because it's level 1, so yeah. Blocks a lot of damage here early on in the game.
Alright, bottom lane, Mineski are going for a standard creep pull, but there's a smoke movement coming in from TNC, but they have nice positioning and they will avoid the trouble. Step back and away, and TNC will just kind of take over this creep pull a bit, but not going to get any sort of bloodshed.
Still going alright for them. Luna is 6 though, so she will have Eclipse. The fights are going to get a little scary here. No null field yet, and for on Witch Doctor, no Omni Slash on drugs. So I don't really have a good way to kill her rapidly. If she gets the Eclipse off, it's really dangerous.
Yeah. Looks like Void's made his return up to the top lane now. He's going for a traditional build-up, and the Vlad's already has the mask here. Nearby, Jules, he's in enemy territory doing some jungling here, and he moves in with the help of Sam. Sam is swinging a miss on the stun. Might not matter, though. Already gets the amp damage out. Can they bring her down? They certainly can. They got the help of the Death Pack, and he'll be able to get that grab. They don't even care about the creeps. Just let him go.
That missed stun was a little... that shouldn't happen. That damage might have just killed her, actually, if he got it off correctly, but still get the kill, and that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, man. He's got way less last hits than the Puck, but he does rotate around, look for some kills.
Don't need to farm lanes if you can farm heroes. Nice! Up and above to be able to grab that invis right over the creeps. And now this is going to be a bit concerning for Mineski. Having a Slark waiting in the wings and Viz. Scout through, but he wants to head all the way down south, I imagine. They want to get this Luna.
And he can get here pretty fast. We'll see if they anticipate it correctly. They obviously did see him grab it since they had neutrals in the area, but if he gets a good pounce off, it could easily lead into a kill here. They've got Omni Slash as well.
Here he comes.
Straight there.
Do they wager that he got there fast enough? Gets one nice efficient right click off, then goes for the pounce. The TPs are coming, but it might be too late to save Luna. It will be. Can they get a response? Coil on 3. Can they get some work done? Cuckoo eats up the orb. They are going to be able to burst down the Witch Doctor here. Raven caught under the Chronosphere. Even Faceless Void getting involved with this skirmish. And, well, no Omni going to be happening with the magic missile locking him in place. And that will be the end of it. It's a 2-for-1 trade to get that Luna, while mid lane, AU eats a little bit of this damage, but he will be able to get off the telekinesis before the Centaur can walk in and stun him. Ends up, you know, they get down the Luna, but, you know, losing their Jug doesn't really help a whole lot.
Yeah, definitely not worth it. They did lose more gold than they gained there. So 800 advantage for the Radiant team. Slark might die. Oh. Okay, he's got pounce.
Jules is trying to get close enough for more Intibus, but not going to be able to
get Did the orb hit? I wasn't quite sure. It got a little laggy there for me. He got really close to dying, though. That was very scary. Puck and Void are very good at counter-initiating. Probably the best thing about the Mineski strat here is that while their defensive trialing didn't go amazing, if they do dive close to a tower, they can punish it so easily.
And now Luna will step away for the first time this game from that bottom lane and just kind of work in the side camp here, and probably eventually just kind of do her work up in the top lane where Jug is going to be waiting for her here. You got Sam on the Slardar. He already has that Blink Dagger purge, so he's looking to put it to work. Nice target would be this Luna here, but
they've got the ward. They see him. This is a great time to go.
Okay.
They have Omni Slash as well.
But they're not pushing forward yet. They're waiting by the tower. We'll see if they move forward and open up an opportunity here for TNC to kind of...
Okay, they see the puck rotating back. Now they'll definitely go. With puck there, it was a little scary. But now if it's just Luna...
The puck is in mid lane, they'll definitely know.
He'll be fine.
They didn't know already. And that will be a quick takedown of the support Rubik. It looks like that will be the end of it here, so they'll just kind of turn this into some momentum forward. And, you know, TNC have been waiting in this top lane for quite a while, but they're not going to make anything out of it. And eventually the Luna pulls away from the top lane and says, why don't we just kind of pressure this mid lane a bit? And it looks like they might just try to get some work done on this tier 1. They got the wolf creep. Why not?
Yeah, it's not looking very good for TNC at the moment. There's a huge gold advantage for Mineski, obviously. They're team fighting better. Well, they're not really team fight. It's more like counter ganking and reacting in that way. TNC will all TP mid. They're going to fight for this one.
There's a jump in crush coming out from Sam. Death ward, and it's going to get quickly canceled. Nicely done for Ben-Hur to stop out that ward, but here comes the Eclipse plus the Chrono.
Oh, he stole Eclipse!
But they got the stolen Eclipse. They're going to be dishing it out. Raven was able to get off the Blade Fury, and now they go. They're going to get cast down. Faceless Void already drops 2 down from the side of Mineski. Make it 3 as they quickly crush down Raging Potato. Huge turnaround fight there for TNC. They just swarm in and get the job done.
Yeah, the Slark got pretty lucky there too. He picked up a Haste Rune bot rune, and he walked in and got a 3-man Dark Pact. That's a lot of magic damage over the course of the fight. Chrono was beautiful, but with the Eclipse getting stolen, it completely turns things around, and Mineski got pretty shredded there. Puck's initiation was also done just to counter the Death Ward, which I don't know if that was fully needed, and that made maybe the damage they did during the Chronosphere a bit weaker as well.
Bit of a misaligned as far as the skill. Oh, and Ben-Hur, he just died, could die again! Back-to-back takedowns of the puck. Already was able to kind of complete a Blink Dagger, was on the way to get a Veil, it looks like, but that will be prolonged quite a bit, and now TNC can just get some extra muscle power onto this tier 2.
Yeah, they will back off from this now. You can't really commit to this. It's too early in the game. People respawn fast.
Yeah.
But they will get out, and they're going to be really happy with that.
For sure.
That was all the gold advantage that Mineski had. It's done now. They entirely came back.
Yeah, you'll need to rappel down this mountain right here. TNC back in the net worth advantage at this point. Nice little early tome of knowledge here from Mr. Cuckoo. Also going to be going his way. The Raven Jug build doesn't seem to be too different from what we saw in the previous game in the hands of Teehee here. Got the Yasha now done as all the net worth they just gained from that fight began to show in their inventory now. And Mineski, they're going right back towards this mid lane, it looks like. I mean, they got Faceless Void at least out in front for now, and Puck's also en route with the coil ready to go. Mineski, I don't know, do you think it's in their best interest to just go and take another fight before TNC can kind of begin to farm and move ahead?
Well, they can't right now. They've got to wait for Eclipse. Without Eclipse, Luna's genuinely just a bad carry. Not very effective, so...
Well, when her Eclipse comes up, though, that means Rubik gets his own, so...
That's true.
It's nice for him. Not a big window to use it, because it is a kind of a longer cooldown, but I would imagine TNC might also try to put this Eclipse to use just as much as Luna will.
Yeah. And they might... Okay, they did lose their top tower. They're going to trade with the Radiance, though, so this is pretty good for TNC. I definitely agree. They should just dodge until Eclipse is gone from Rubik, because right now it's so scary. That's potentially, like, 1,200, 1,500 points of magic damage on Eclipse. They can't deal with that. But maybe they will have to.
Yeah, I mean, they're moving in towards this tier 2, pressuring. Rotations are coming in from all over on the side of TNC. 1 TP in. Rubik comes in from the south. In fact, he might be the first one to go into a skirmish. He goes right for his own Luna. Could be enough, but the quick time walk is going to avoid the extra bit of damage. A commitment in from Teehee. Goes right to Shadow Dance. Sam's in trouble. Sam going to be locked down. They get a nice Chronosphere there. Does trap in Raging Potato, but they might be able to at least clean up and do some extra work. 2 go down from TNC. They will lose Raging Potato. Jug and Teehee trying to man up here, but a nice jump in comes out from the puck. They burst him down, and quickly TNC will lose all 5.
It's a pretty good start for TNC there. I thought that they were going to come through, but the Chronosphere and the Eclipse from the Luna just kind of sealed the deal. If we look at the fight recap, the damage done was pretty massive across the board. Even the Enchantress coming up really heavy with 1,300 damage. And Slaughter did almost nothing in that fight. Apparently he didn't even get a stun off. So tough fight for Slar, and that's gonna be how that goes. The Omni Slash as well was a bit mediocre. It went down with the Rubik's Wave of Terror, but as soon as it ended, he was caught in the Chronosphere. So that really limited his ability to do damage in that fight. So great fight from Mineski there. It's going to give him map control. If they can take more towers, TNC's advantage from being on the dire side is going to be negated.
And what was once a decent advantage taken right back here from Mineski, but to crawl back a bit, TNC do have that Roche advantage being on Dire's side, plus having the Slaughter with the amp damage makes it a bit easier. They go in and they'll try to go for the clutch play and at least get the Aegis on their side, feeling more comfortable with any sort of upcoming team fight. And we'll see if Mineski float that way, but does not look like they're suspect.
And that's the one advantage TNC has, is that Mineski is all team fight heroes. So they know that if they lose a fight like that, they can just run into Roche and their opponents won't be able to deal with them. Because Blink stun Slardar with a Slark who has ultimate up, like, it's just kind of scary. Same with Witch Doctor ulti and Rubik as well. They're always going to be ready to fight there.
Yeah.
I wonder if Rubik should have had a null field though. I kind of think he should, especially with an infused raindrop. I think there's a lot of value with those two as synergy. He could really limit the magic damage done to himself and others.
We'll keep it for now.
Laggy too?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm up and we're back and we're stopped and we're back and we're good.
I think we're good for
all right.
For sure now.
That was just a blow on the cable. Apparently, we're good. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The nice thing for TNC is being able to play around these longer cooldowns. Mid lane, though, the cooldowns are back. They go right for Teehee with the Void. And that is an Aegis already going to be taken down.
Oh,
Jump in, nice two-man crush. They look, they step back, they reset. Teehee likes to step in with a second life, but he quickly pounces out from trouble. Rubik now moves in. Steps in with his own time dilation. That is frustrating for both Puck and the Faceless Boy. They have to head north to avoid the trouble, but here comes the Eclipse now as a fire back. Can TNC take this back their way? They're looking to do so. Raven with a double, tries to go for the triple, but the pesky little Puck tries to sidestep. Not going to be able to make it away. Void heads up north, but they catch Jules instead. Just after TNC get 5-man wiped, Raven quickly gets a triple kill in the next fight, and now they move on in.
The AU Rubik is playing so well. Like, he tried to steal Chronosphere, but he got time dilation.
But he used it.
I actually thought that was better.
Yeah.
Once he used it, like, that skill is really strong, especially because Mineski was a little... they had already thrown a lot of nukes on the Slark, and that was his Aegis. So if they burn it on his Aegis and he time dilates afterwards, Puck can't phase shift basically.
No.
He's probably still on cooldown for Orb and Waning Rift. So basically for like, however, he's got how many points? 3 points in this? Basically like 10 plus the cooldown that they were missing. They just can't cast spells for the rest of the fight. And a lot of these guys do need the lower cooldowns. Even Magic Missile, Orbs, even like a Lucent Beam on Luna can make a big difference at a 6-second cooldown. So that was a huge steal from the Rubik that made things pretty straightforward.
Yeah. He caught both the Puck, who is one of the heaviest spellcasting heroes in the game, who will suffer the most from a time dilation, and even caught his own Faceless Void. And we know the low cooldown of that time walkout, and he was not able to do so. So they both had to just kind of walk away in shame from the fight, and that really opened things up for TNC to kind of rid who was available. And with that, back we go, Purge, back to even as far as the net worth goes. These teams love to swing.
Yeah, and Rubik's item build is really efficient. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I want to try this build. He gets Urn, gets Wand for lots of mana, tons of HP and survivability from Trickles, and just the Raindrop on top of that just means that he has quite a bit of mana regen. He's getting 4 per second with the Raindrop and with his Urn. So, a lot of mana here.
So worth over getting like an Arcanes just based on the
I think so. It's a lot more expensive, but with the Windlace and the Tranquil Boots, you're running around at 395 if you're not getting attacked. That's really fast.
Oh,
in some ways, counters what Blink would do for you, really. So, tons of mana regen, he's survivable, he's got a lot of utility, he can keep his team going in pushes, and extra survivable with Infused Raindrop on top of all of that. So, it's like a cool way to like play a support, but be able to tank things even though you're not a tanky support. And that's what this build looks like. I'm sure you can go these items, these like 5 items, on a lot of support heroes and make this build work. So, I'm going to try to test this out a bit, see if there's other heroes it works on.
Definitely a coddle build there. I don't know, maybe not with Chakra Magic. Probably not as necessary to go with hefty mana, but...
Probably not, but...
Still fun nonetheless here. And speaking of fun little build-ups, I don't know, maybe it's the new norm, but a Diffusal Blade on Slark here. I'm not seeing a lot of Ghost Scepter. Oh, I have the one Ghost Scepter on Cask, I guess, which is nice to be able to
purge off. You can purge off Time Dilation as well.
Time Dilation, yeah, you're right.
That one's pretty big. Especially on Slark, because you're casting Dark Pact a lot. If you're Time Dilated, then boom, you can't remove stuns from yourself. That's a huge deal. So I kind of like it. Not to mention the slow gives him a lot of agility, which is going to be great against Enchantress since it counters Untouchable. If he finds Luna ever, he can just solo kill her. Because as soon as she ults, you press your ulti. Easy. So I kind of like it. If he ever finds Luna, the only way she gets out is TPing.
And now we'll see a bit of a passing here. I did notice as well, Faceless Void went with the Midas buildup. After getting the Vlads, Yasha, Ulti Orb, looks like a Manta's coming his way. And they're potentially going to be making their move towards this mid lane. It will be denied, though, that Cuckoo will rid of the reliable gold there from Mineski. But kind of similar to how we saw in game number 1, Mineski are able to continue to pressure these side objectives here a bit. Raging Potato pretty deep in this top lane even. Been close to flirting with that high ground, just trying to finish out the start of what looks like, or at least finishing out the Sage and Yasha. I thought first that could have been going straight for a BKB, but maybe it's not too necessary this game, really. A lot of physical DPS and just damage on the other side.
I think it'll be alright. Yeah, there's a lot of magic damage, honestly. And he can also potentially remove amp damage from it with it, for example. So I think it's potentially good. Plus, Cask is just kind of scary this game. Mineski doesn't have that many heroes. They don't have a lot of summons, for example. So I feel like Cask could potentially do a massive amount. BKB, you just need BKB on Luna. The nukes are too much, because if you don't have BKB, then you just die to nuke damage, even if you're not worried about stuns. It's tough. Unless it happens to be something else, who knows?
We'll see.
Dragonlance? SNY?
Dragonlance,
Maybe?
yeah.
It's probably not an SNY game because of Pounce. You're going to be limited either way.
Now, what about on her, if for whatever reason, now I'm just pulling out something out of my ass at this point, but her Hurricane Pike, will the bounce work at that point with Luna, you think?
It should originate, it would bounce off the person it hits. So
Person it hits, okay, that's
basically no reason to do it.
I'm going to Eclipse and then shoot you away.
They both smoke out here. One Observer Ward placed down for TNC to protect. They're obviously going to know that they're all smoked here because the Sark was pushing tower.
We'll move in, it pops now. Raven's on the high ground, there's a jump in from
Oh,
AU.
it's done!
3-man crush comes out from Sam the man. But the quick response is going to be the Eclipse, but it's stolen right up from TNC. Now here comes a nice Chronosphere. Can they get enough out of it? Jump in the coil as the follow-up catches out 3. Now they Slark leaps back it away, trying to step out the puck. Looks like might be able to make it away. The orb over.
Blink, though.
And he will blink, and he will not make it out. 4 go down from the side of Mineski here.
Ooh.
Beautiful crush setup, though.
Yeah, God, that was such a beautiful stun. Great place for a ward, too. A little bit away from the cliff, so it's not like they're going to spot it on the way in, but what a that's such a cool way to do that. Push out the safe lane, the safe lane with their puck, and then they sit smoked in the angles that their opponents are likely to come from with a great ward, seeing them coming, and the Jug in position in the front to break the smoke so they see them as well. So with all of those smart things they did, sets up a beautiful crush. The Rubik does a great job stealing Eclipse. That was his entire job there. He did end up dying. Luckily for Mineski, that could have gone worse. They actually killed him mid-Eclipse. But great Eclipse steal. He gets a Blink Dagger out of this, and he still has his infused raindrop. Like, what a value item at this point. Like, how much mana do you get from this if you're alive for 10 minutes? Like, a ridiculous 600 times 0.85 or something for a 225 gold item. This is the value area where you're getting ridiculous value, especially because he didn't have to get Arcane Boots, and he still has huge mobility and survivability. Really cool build from this guy.
Throw a CM in on your team, and then you're really never going to see your blue bar go down.
Yep.
And, well, with that, TNC taking the reins of this game once again. Both these teams continue to square up nicely against each other, but this time TNC held a better position for the fight and had a wonderful setup. So we could be looking at Roche in the near future. It looks like our secondary timer is going to be a bit more forgiving for Mineski at this point, and we'll have to see TNC just kind of hold things out and go back into the grind of farm. After picking up a defusal, looks like Slark is grabbing his first ulti orb. I imagine possibly a Scotty in his near future here.
Yeah, he needed HP real bad. If you look at his survivability right now with the ultimate orb, it's still looking squishy. You could definitely chain burst him with Puck and Chronosphere, for example. But that's what Mineski needs to do. They have to start the fight with a Chrono. Almost every fight has been TNC going in first, with the exception of the one where it was Aegis on Slark, which isn't that amazing of an initiation. So BKB up next on Luna for sure. He buys Mithril Hammer now. And Faceless Void's going to transition into a Diffusal Blade, so he will be basically being a carry this game. I kind of like the idea of him initiating on Slark and potentially draining a lot of his mana. That would be kind of cool. But there's other heroes he can do that on. Slardar, perhaps.
We'll see.
He'll be strong, though. Faceless Void over the course of this game. He's
definitely raising the ceiling here, is trying to be maybe the insurance policy and the man behind this Luna. She's not going to be able to dish out too much here because, I haven't seen her items really progress. It looks like it is a BKB, so she's got the Mithril Hammer. Smart call there, and we'll be able to at least help mitigate a bit of the extra magic burst and something scary as that pesky little coconut as mentioned before, and or a stolen eclipse. So
Rubik sold his infused raindrop. No, that's actually so worth it, dude. He basically got 110 gold back. That was an investment right there. He got like 8 clarity value out of 1 infused raindrop. It's basically a Midas.
yeah, I'll definitely be playing with those raindrops a bit more. That's for sure.
There's a couple times where it's amazing to buy it in the game, definitely. Laning stage for some carries that don't want to buy a bottle or a soul ring or a drum. Occasional support. Looks pretty good.
All right, Teehee. He's got his nice new silver edge here, and he's looking to put to work. There's a puck. Can he get the puck? He's like, I don't want a puck. Puck's too scary, too slippery.
He got this item so fast.
Trying to hope for something else instead, but there's nothing else, so they might have to settle. And they're not even going to be able to get that opportunity here, so they'll pull off with what it is. And yeah, that silver edge came together pretty dang fast.
Kind of an interesting pickup as well, because he already has Blink. Usually teams don't go for both items. With that said, it's very good against the Enchantress since he can remove her passive.
I don't know if I feel like she would be too much of a threat to warrant committing in for a silver edge, but he's like, she's annoying, I gotta get it.
I think the other part might just be that it gives him so many survivability solutions. He can leap, he can shadow dance, and now he can also go invis. And he can blink. So potentially if he initiates on a Luna, for example, he doesn't have to waste his ultimate, he can just shadow blade it out. Oh, they scan it out and they spot the Radiant team rotating.
Yep.
So they know that they're probably going to be sitting by the, especially when somebody starts the farm here. Never mind, they're not going to actually. And Slark on the backside is scouting out, so they might know exactly where these guys are.
Can they flank them?
So there's such weird positioning.
Yeah, it's really awkward here, and it's Mineski who are kind of trapped in the middle of it.
They're
converging in. Yeah, they're converging in for sure. Teehee, they're going to be complimenting to jump in from Slardar, and as they move for the Slardar, Teehee shows himself, tries to go for Jules.
Oh, this is perfect.
Eats a lot of damage, but they're actually able to catch both Teehee and Cuckoo with a huge Chronosphere and an Eclipse combo. Fun little positioning from TNC to catch him from behind, but they are able to turn it around and catch out Teehee nicely.
Really hard to execute that perfectly, but they punished it very well with the Faceless Void. As soon as they chronoed the Slark without him using his ult, then it's over. But if they just waited that out for a couple more seconds, that would have been completely wasted BKB on Luna, and they could have re-engaged.
And now, because of this, Mineski moving for the pit, but we know TNC, they never like to hand over an easy Roach, but look at all the damage coming out now. As Raven moves in, slashes them apart, he will potentially lose his own life. Swap back into the fight. He already got the urn. Blink, he is gone. He is gone and good. They swiftly move in. They get the Luna down, but Mineski are persistent. They're like, we started this, Roach. We got to take it.
The orb is used. They're getting kind of low here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The only one close on the side of TNC is AU. He's going to move in, but he quickly blinks out. The Aegis will be picked up, but it has to go onto the Faceless Void. You know, maybe not your best target to have it, but Mineski just happy to get that Roche down at the end of the day. But man, TNC never make anything easy.
They really don't. They're so good, man. They push every limit they can. I was like, oh, 3v5, whatever. Send the Slar, and they'll never expect this. Get a 4-man stun. Rubik's like, nuke. I'll take your nuke as well. They'll go another 20%. They did lose the Witch Shark, but they killed the Luna, and like you said, now the Aegis goes on a hero that they don't really want the Aegis to be on. So they just keep pushing their limits here, and it's sort of working. They did get caught in the last fight with the Chronosphere. That hurt them big time. But they're limiting their losses a bit.
Now, we'll see. TNC probably feeling okay with this. You know, it's not going to be the Luna with that Aegis or the Puck or anything like that. Puck, though, with the Dagon. Build up your Purge. Usually something you see a lot of Pucks when they feel pretty confident, but or maybe just need the extra bit of burst.
It's for the Slark, really. They're a little limited on disable. They don't want to have to necessarily commit a Chronosphere, but if they can lead with, like, I don't know, Avenge Swap or a Chronosphere, they just got to kill him there. Like, they've got to kill him.
Yeah.
So the Dagon is just a really straightforward build, especially with the Veil. God, Veil's actually so good on Puck because it limits his physical damage weakness. He just gets an armor piece out of it, and it amplifies all of his skills. And then he can build Dagon afterwards, which most Pucks build anyway, so all of a sudden he's going to get a Dagon 5. He's just going to blow up supports.
Yeah, that's crazy. He actually already has the level 3 recipe good to go. And what can TNC do? They don't have the luxury of a Vengeful Spirit on their team to swap out this Slark, just unless they steal it, I guess. But not really a lot of good options to save this Slark here. So it's a lot of pressure on him to not risk getting caught out by that Chrono and potentially be taken out of the fight before it even begins. But here we'll see Mineski get right back into the grind at this point, and Luna was able to finally get that BKB, which is good for her. So 9 seconds.
Good
so
for her.
They used it in the last fight, actually.
Really proud.
But she's still falling a bit. You know, she's like 4th in the net worth. She's still behind even her own Faceless Void. She's got a journey ahead of her here.
And normally I'd say this is pretty scary because Lunas don't usually come well from behind. If they get behind, they kind of just keep dying, kind of similar to how most people play Drought. But at least the one benefit is that she is very good at team fighting, and she has a very good passive farm ability due to Glaze. I don't know how that thing works. You throw it and it always just keeps going, man.
Yeah.
And somehow still, like, surely you'd lose a lot of kinetic energy bouncing off the first thing.
Nope, not Nice Frog's world.
Magic, I guess.
Yeah,
There's some
gravity
magic in this
doesn't
game.
exist in magic. Is even in the butterflies on the map for sure, but
yep. So maybe she can come back. I don't know. Maybe she can get a good team fight with an Eclipse, pick off a couple heroes with good Chronosphere. But the way that TNC is playing, their positioning is always good. They don't group up accidentally and get chronoed like, say, Vegetable Esports does. So they should be able to handle this. I think. But we'll see. They could come back. But if the Luna's this far behind, then you're putting everything in the basket of Faceless Void. Yeah. He's got really good items and he's got a Midas.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same. Once his Chronosphere's down, there's just better heroes.
And he also gets the tower too. So he's like, you know what, Luna, no, you're not even going to get this to catch up. I'm taking this too. I'm the new carry now.
He is. He deserves this, man. But honestly, the long cooldown on his ult is a little scary. Because he can't just buy... I don't think he can justify skipping X. No. Like, at some point, you're like, okay, my ultimate is on a 100-second cooldown. And yes, I can bash and, like, stop damage and stuff, but I need like a carry ability. Like Jug easily, I think when his other skills are maxed out and Omni Slash is down, he's just a better hero for 1v1 situations. The crit just like massively increases your damage. It's like a free item slot basically to have 4 skill points make a 35% double crit. So at some point Void's gonna have to get Ags, and that's where Jug is gonna start outperforming him in terms of items. And also, Void can't get Abyssal Blade. That's another really big thing. So his ability to just control and kill single heroes is going to be limited over what Jug can do.
Yeah, best case scenario, it's like, yeah, they'll be able to get the jump and get some quick bursts, let's say, on either the Jug or the Slark, but I don't even know if they'll have enough firepower after that to deal with their other remaining core, because both Raven on this Jug and Teehee are just finding a lot for themselves, and they both look pretty damn scary. I mean, there's the Basher now done for the Slark. He's going to have Abyssal very soon. The Jug has almost got a Scotty, so even if you are able to man up and get him inside a Chrono, you have to hope that you're going to have enough to even finish him off. This is going to be a little tricky here for Mineski at this point, and I don't imagine it gets easier if the time just keeps going.
Yeah, it doesn't. And Void's actually, his damage is not very good against high armor targets. The Diffusal, the Mana Burn's all physical. They're going to fight though. There's the scan. I don't know whose scan that was, but they see him.
Oh, they step back. It looked like a smoke for a reposition from Mineski. They jump in, stuns a miss. They pop the BKB, and now the Eclipse from Raging Potato. The Omni Slash going to be going out. A swap back to put Luna into safety, but Raven just starts slashing through them all. Quickly takes out 2.
He stole it again.
Faceless Void, not going to be enough, and now AU moves in and continues to show why he is the new Rubik in town. Luna manning up, trying to get a hold of Sam, but Sam says, no, you can't. 5 go down, just like that from Mineski. TNC only lose their Witch Doctor, and they don't even care about gems. They're just going to leave with their winnings, big winnings at that. Holy crap, that is like a 4K plus gold swing. And a gem. Sam, come on.
That was so much. I thought it was gonna be a bad fight too because the Slarder whiffed at the start. Luckily he did have a BKB, so that guaranteed he didn't just die at the start. But
another Eclipse for Rubik though.
Yeah, really good Omni Slash from Jug, and this is really showing Luna being behind. Her Manta's off cooldown now. I didn't really see her use it at the start. I feel like she ate a lot of that Omni Slash, put her in a bad spot. And with that, there was no Chronosphere either. Like, what happened to Void? Did Void just get blown up by something?
He got blown up so quick. I don't know if it was the Omni Slash. Maybe he got amped and Omni'd. It was just, he was there and he was gone.
Maybe like Rubik lift with Witch Doctor Cask or something like that, because he clearly got stunned all the way through, because he could Manta jump, for example, and most likely get out. But with him dying like that, and Eclipse being stolen again, no Chronosphere, no Luna Manta, they had a swap, but like it's like, okay, well, I'll just die instead of you, you know? And then your Luna's at like 30% HP and can easily be chased down. The puck got messed
Which
up
happened.
as well. He got chain stunned right at the start of the fight. So puck not being annoying, man, the fight was just over. They had a Chronosphere there, and they were just a little bit slower.
One of those things I wish I could look back at it, because I mean you're right, with Slaughter not even getting off on a great foot. It's all on like maybe like the coconut at that point to be able to lock him in place, or the telekinesis from the Rubik.
Yeah.
These supports are just really.
They must have gotten him. I just don't know how. Like no Chronosphere at all, and they whiffed their initiation, and plus the fact it was nighttime. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe it's part of it.
Day.
Like maybe he saw an opening for a chrono, but Luna's like kind of caught right there, and you're like, I don't want to chrono my own Luna.
Yeah,
and hopes to get the most out of like an eclipse
that's a good
or something.
Point. Like, does he time walk to his Luna and pop his Manta to eat some of those Omni Slashes, or like if they jump in that fast and all of a sudden there's an Omni Slashing Juggernaut and Slaughter's BKB next to your heroes, like your Chronosphere's kind of wasted. That's a really good point. Like, what do you do then? You look for the supports, but boom, chain stuns, Slark hits you, you die, something like that. That's probably what happened.
That unfortunately seems to be the case where it's always TNC finding these opportunities to make the jump before Mineski can react and make those quick, lightning fast decisions. It's just even in the first game, you know, and we saw it this game too, like these ward spots where Mineski are heading up high ground, and yeah, they have their 5 together, but TNC just always in the right position, always got to get the jump on them. And by that point, by the time that Mineski can realize what the hell's going on, TNC have already taken down 2, and they're already moving forward with just getting the rest of the 5-man wipe.
Yeah, and they're consistently stealing the best spells too. He stole Eclipse again. Like he just keeps getting it, and then
it's hard for Luna though. I would imagine. I mean, you can obviously just try to quickly pop off your nuke afterward, but
it's pretty long animation.
When people are Omni slashing around and jumping apart and things are in a tizzy, I imagine it's pretty difficult for. Plus, maybe you just don't see Rubik's very often, I guess, and
especially not Rubik versus Luna. It's definitely a rare match. I mean, Luna hasn't really been a popular carry for probably 2+ years. I guess she
popped up a little bit at TI5. Hal was like, you know what, guys?
Oh, that's right.
Luna's back.
That's right.
And Arteezy's like, yeah, Luna is back. And then they both lost. So
yeah, she was popular, I think, around maybe TI4. Going back a few TIs before that, Luna was pretty big for like 5-man push stuff, but. She definitely didn't get buffed enough, that's for sure.
It just feels like there's other people who do her job better.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they don't do that Ag's refresher job.
Ion cannon build?
That shit's almost, like, it's almost OP. In pubs, it feels OP, but that's because people kind of just get, like, double ultied, and they're like, oh, I'm being beamed right now. Teleport me up. Like, I'm dead.
It does a lot of ridiculous. It's pretty damn ridiculous.
But it's counterable, that's the problem with that build. And
that's why it can't be seen in competitive play too often.
Yeah, it's really counterable for sure. And then you can just maybe avoid team fights and split push, stuff like that, perhaps.
That might have to be the plan for Mineski. Do you think they already have to fall back on that kind of a plan like they did in game number 1 at this point? It feels like TNC are taking the biggest network advantage of this game so far. They're certainly much richer when you look at this the per hero net worth and the items they hold. Can Mineski still hold up in any sort of fight, even when their cooldowns are up and at the ready here, or is it time for them to start split pressuring and stalling things out a bit?
They can win the fight, but like we talked about, they got to go first. Chronosphere, 2 or 3 heroes, let Eclipse go off while they're not BKB during that. If they can catch like Jug or Jug without spin, Slaughter without BKB, Slark without ulti, they can kill those guys with Eclipse, and Puck on top of that. Like, super good synergy between those two, but it's never been like that. So that's what's got to change. They can't split push as well as they could last game, so it's all going to come down to vision and initiation. Hurricane Pike up on Enchantress at least, so...
Oh, here we go.
Maybe he'll push somebody into a Chronosphere or something cool like that.
Dude, it can happen.
That's actually a very good build, a very good thing that you can do. I haven't done it yet, but I keep thinking about it. I'm like, what is Hurricane Pike good for pushing your opponents? I was like, Chronosphere and Mines?
Next level is like you push him up on the cliff, push him into the middle of Serpent Wards, boom. That's like golf. I guess it's just like...
Yeah, there will be. There's definitely going to be stuff like that eventually.
It will happen.
Especially around Roche, because you just have to coordinate with a blink, then it's possible.
Yeah.
Like, people already do, like, force somebody forward. Like, this is the easier version of this by far. Just it's hard to commit that much gold to an item that does this unless you get value from the right click.
You really want to have fun with manipulating movement of people. You get one on Earth Spirit, then you really are just kicking them and pulling them and shoving them all over the place.
The boulder smash, blink after them, and then
kick one guy up on a cliff, push the other one over there.
Same with Tusk actually, but then you have a Hurricane Pike on Tusk, and you're like, why do I have a Hurricane Pike on Tusk? Might be fun though. Kick 2 back. You could like jump, blink in, Hurricane Pike 1, kick the other one.
Oh, we have Ags and
make the ice shards to separate them, and then snowball after.
You do your move, bop, bop, boom, and they all just blink back in or get back in. You're like, that was fun. All that build up, all that farm.
Yeah.
For that.
That's actually so expensive, really. That's like 8k gold on Tusk to do that.
Guys, I'm going off lane. Plus, come to this lane. Just trust me. At 50 minutes, I got a plan for you.
This is going to be really cool if I execute it.
Legit. This could be another situation where TNC have just kind of propped themselves hiding in the dark here.
Yeah. If
Mineski were continuing to move forward in that lane, it could have been some serious trouble. Just TNC laying the traps, man. Mineski.
And Slurk keeps getting like more solutions against the Radiant team. And that's what I'm seeing in all of the builds on TNC. They're just buying survivability items. Because they know if they survive the Chronosphere or the puck combo or the Eclipse that they're going to win. And that's because these heroes are not scaling in terms of their damage yet. It takes Luna like another item after this until she's actually starting to get feared for her DPS. So they're pretty safe right now. Maybe the problem is Drum on Luna. I'm not a huge fan of Drum on a lot of agility carries still. It's still pretty heavily purchased, even on heroes like Jug, but I don't know. Maybe there needs to be a new Luna build to make Luna good. That's really what Luna's missing. Maybe it was Eggs.
Yeah, maybe in C Qualifiers, it's not the time to find out what the build actually is. They made their jump up and above, they get the Chrono, but it's just for Sam. They have to use the Dagon, they have to use some extra nuke to get the burst, and well, look at this. Slark considers moving in, but Void is a bit tanky. He doesn't like that. He'll step back and away, and you know, TNC will just take their one little loss right there. But you know what? That's a longer cooldown on that Chrono.
Yeah.
Maybe Slark comes back and they go right forward.
It's good they did that finally, I think. Mineski hasn't really been grabbing any hero kills.
Not really at all.
If they're just going to stand around, they might as well go for solos like that.
Well, not long before TNC said, you know what, you take one of ours, we'll take one of yours.
Yeah, I think that's why Slark gave up on the Void, because he started hitting him, he was attacking real slow. He's like, oh, I actually have no DPS yet. But against Enchantress, you're fine.
Oh, yeah.
Low armor, break her passive with the Silver Edge, you're good to go. So they're just getting tanky now, they'll transition to damage items in a bit, and keep getting that map control. They could take Roche right now, like you said. There's no Chrono, and they killed Enchant now. They have no Slar, I guess, so it'd be slow. But I think it's worth trying for.
I imagine between the Jug and the Slark, should be fine. It's only the second Roche of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Jug can do it fine.
Second, third, they have cheese.
It's got such an efficient item build too. Diffusal Blade, Manta, Eye of Scotty. His illusions are going to be strong, actually. I like this build a lot. And now he's finally maxing out his Blade Dance, one of the most effective crits in the game. Per value, that is.
Oh, yeah.
So his illusions are... I bet one of his illusions could kill Bench in a 1v1, most likely.
That's just when you feel terrible as a support. Yeah. Absolutely terrible. Well, they're going to get their ages here. Mineski looked like they were getting ready to kind of collect over here and head that way, but they'll see the message and hear the tune and realize it's just a bit too late for us, and they'll walk away sad.
Void also very, very good illusions. Pretty much similar items. Diffusal, Manta with Butterfly now. So.
I mean, he looks decked out. I look at his item stash, I'm like, he's decked out. But in the back of my mind is he's a decked out faceless Void.
Look at
when you have a Luna on your game.
Like, he hits really hard.
He hits harder than the Luna.
220 or 212 plus 61.
No, he doesn't. But
it's very hard.
It's very, very hard.
Good survivability, evasion. He can time walk damage now, so he's really good against Omnis. Actually, his illusions are such a good Omni counter now that they evade, and they're quite tanky. But Jug just finished an MKB with 900 gold to spare, so wasted. Still worth it though. It'll dodge Slardar. They've got that going for them, and Slark can. Does Break do items? Oh, they killed the Aegis here. I wasn't watching. Were you watching?
What? They got killed?
Oh, nothing happened, dude. Nothing. I don't know. I don't know what you're
I heard the Aegis sound. Did they really just already take it out?
Yeah, they went for the Chrono and.
Oh yeah, I totally. I was watching a Satyr get killed and then they like smoked up.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm a little sad I didn't see that because I was kind of curious what Void's DPS was, but apparently it was more than healthy. There was a bunch of heroes there. They only used Chrono, and immediately TNC is going to revive and they're going to go for a push. They did not buy back on this. So I guess Slark just respawned real fast. Oh, I'm sorry, Delia had Aegis.
It's just probably, he hits so hard now, it's so violent, I didn't want to risk showing it to some of the 12-year-olds that are out there watching this right now.
That makes sense. He's also got the Silver Age cosmetic, I just now realized, so.
The Silver Edge cosmetic.
Really cool
That's
guy.
Probably the reason you had to get this build up to begin with. Genuine pale edge. I don't know how much that's
You see that dedication, dude? It was written in a really edgy way.
If only this Faceless Void had a Battle Fury cosmetic. Uh-oh. BKB. Gonna be popped here. Sam steps back here, jump in, time dilation. They go for the pullback onto him.
It's done.
And
no
they
eclipse
lock
yet.
him in place here. No eclipse. Omni flies up and inside the base. Oh my god, the damage! Faceless Void just gets shredded apart so quickly. He has no buyback here. Eclipse gonna be coming out. It's gonna force the jug back. Right clicks are coming out here from Ben Hur, chasing on the puck right here. Will he continue the pursuit? No, he will not. Change of course as they make the move now for T. He has swap back sent from Cass. Not gonna be enough.
Shadow
they move
Blade.
in. Can they get him? Shadow Blade not gonna be enough. Can't slip away. They do burst him down, but now they turn it right back around. Going for Raging Potato. They try to force him out, but it's not going to be good enough. Jules can't assist with a Hurricane Pike. Nice wave snipe right there from Venge to get the finishing blow onto Raven. An absolute bloodbath outside the front door of the Mineski base.
And they didn't even have to buyback for that one, I don't think. No buybacks on Mineski. That was a great fight then. And if you look at that gold change, damn, 1,400 going to Venge, 950 on Enchant. If Enchant stays alive through these combos, and she doesn't even have that many items, she's actually a really good solution to these heroes, because they all went stat heavy, which means tons of HP, tons of armor. Pure damage is exactly what they need to go through this. And it counters BKBs, so Jug can't even spin. I think when he spun that, it was actually maybe the one thing that got him killed. Like, he was done. He couldn't do anything there.
And one of the few times we see Mineski able to kind of be caught in a sticky situation and still be able to turn things right back and around for themselves.
Without Chrono.
Without Chrono, yeah. That Void still just gets hit really, really hard, considering all the items he's built up here.
Yeah.
I mean, could be a credit to TNC if they're able to get off a good amp damage and really make him become paper squishy.
Yeah, he's going to have to do something with his Vlads now, which is kind of unfortunate, considering how much agility items he's purchased. It's been really effective in terms of overall damage, because he's in for 215 base, so he's getting 15 bonus on top of that. So this is like a 45 damage item right now, the Vlad's is. That's value for 2.4k gold.
What if Venge buys one, gets one, and he can replace it with something else? Is it worth it? Is it worth it enough? Or what do you replace the Vlad's with?
A better item, but it's... I mean, Void kind of needs a mix of things. He needs more raw HP, so I'm thinking Scotty, give him damage, make his illusions better, gives him some slow. The slow might be worth it there, but then he's limited in other ways. Like, if Venge would have to buy Vlad, that's going to cost Venge 2k gold, so he doesn't get some other item. Like, getting Venge, even like a Blink Dagger or something could be really good, or he could start working on a Glimmer Cape of his own, or he can get a Medallion. Medallion's actually great this game. If he puts that on his Luna was already not dying very fast in the last fight. If you get, like, at least a Medallion, maybe even a Solar Crest for the 10 armor versus 7, then Luna's going to turn into a carry as well. Like, Mineski's actually stabilizing finally, and TNC may have to start swapping out some of these tanky medium tier items like Diffusal, not that that's tanky, for actual real damage items, because they're not bursting as much as they were before.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, do you even consider something like the Solar Crest? We have MKBs coming out of Wazoo now from TNC here.
Yeah, that's basically the
jug.
That's the trade. Like,
I mean, can they get?
It's 3 extra armor.
Yeah.
So
that's
maybe.
like if you had an AC on somebody, but I don't know who would be that person on Mineski right now.
At the least, I would definitely do the Medallion on Vengeful Spirit. Okay. Sell one, get Medallion. That 7 armor on whoever's getting Omni Slash is going to make a huge difference. That's like 30-some% survivability.
But she's holding a lot of bank here. I think she's... What, she want Ags, though? Play the greedy game?
Ags is just not very good, I don't think. I only tried it one game, but it was worthless. It was like, you die and then they just kill you again, and you're like...
Really? I've seen a couple of times where they kind of let it go, and next thing you know, she's getting off that extra stun, an extra swap to save a life. Still has the aura there for the team.
The only way that works is maybe if you're not super out of position, which kind of counters what Ags does in the first place, which is lowers your ult cooldown. So it's... I don't know. Maybe if they're really far behind, it's amazing, because then... If they barely kill you, then Ags is amazing, because you're alive and essentially still contributing.
Speaking of Ags, Rubik just completes an Ags. This guy's decked out right now.
So farmed.
Oh, they might catch out Teehee here. He's farming on the creeps, a jump in and a quick chrono. Poor Ben here actually jumps into the chrono himself, but it doesn't matter. They have plenty of burst, and they will take the Slark out. Does have a buyback, but a good pick here for Mineski.
Yeah, he got the Veil off anyways, so got the value out of that. So for now, TNC will sit in base again. Game's definitely getting a little scary. The one player that's maybe slightly underperforming this game is Sam H, but Normally he just straight up owns. Once he gets AC, he's gonna help his team a lot, though.
Oh yeah,
I think.
he's been working on it for quite a while. Obviously needs to hold a bit for buyback here just in case, because trouble is approaching here. Mineski getting ready to knock on the front door in hopes to get that buyback out here from Slark. And now they make their move in. Are they going to get the buyback out or not? There's the glyph. Already committed. Raging Potato gets hit with a nice Maldic here. The Death Ward coming out the swap. Going to be saved. Nicely done from Cats. She pops her BKB and pops the Eclipse while she's at it here. Omni Slash continues to fly out. Raven now hits the deck and begins
we got Eclipse.
Blade Fury. Eclipse has been stolen. It's going to be used here. They lose their Luna, but TNC now lose 3. Teehee goes down. A buyback. A dieback for him. Jug gets dropped. Is going to be forced to buyback. It's just him and the Slard are all alone to try to defend this one out. Mineski know they can try to finish this one. Raging Potato does buy back and begins to head her way back towards this mid lane.
This is bad.
These Raxes are in trouble, and TNC might take their second loss of this qualifier.
Mineski has buyback on 4 of their heroes as well. All pretty important, with the exception of Luna's the only one that doesn't have buyback now. There's no cooldowns, no big ult cooldowns on a lot of heroes, but
they're going for tier 4s.
They should. This is their best chance here. Like, they're going to power curve harder as the game continues, but with no Omni Slash and the Slark dieback, they can just end this.
Poke goes in, gets off a nice chrono for Raven, and it's over. I mean, with that, him down 100 seconds, no buyback. Slark's still out nearly a minute.
The only thing Slardar can do, chase me, please. Please, chase me across the map. It's the only way.
Their eyes are on the prize, and Mineski are going to be taking this series to a game number 3.
What a win. That was really impressive.
That was quick
from Mineski.
Yeah.
It was huge TNC advantage, but then a couple fights that went semi-even, a couple fights that went well, and TNC actually went too tanky. I'm surprised to say it, but it was definitely the case here. Like, I thought their builds were good. Like, the purpose of the tanky builds is you survive their magic burst, and if you survive their magic burst, you will outlast them and you will kill them. But that didn't happen. They didn't kill people in time. They were able to cycle their abilities. Enchanters hard counters BKBs with the simplest right click. So it was like all these items they bought actually let them down. They needed maybe the Slardar to come up a little harder. He basically played full team fight, but no DPS.
Yeah.
Was maybe one thing, because he never got his AC, so he had actually no attack speed items. But the BKB was needed, and he needed a plate mail then afterwards to survive right clicks and stuff. But I felt like the Slardar didn't contribute enough, and that was maybe the only person on TNC that didn't do enough this game. But it was mostly just Mineski played team fights really well, I feel like. Especially in the late game.
Oh yeah, they found their opening there.
Finally.
It felt like up to that point it was still just TNC always like in that better position and just punishing Mineski for it. But then Mineski were able to string together a couple of swift kills. They used their advantage and that smoke movement to get the quick pick off on Slark, so he had no buyback for that fight. And then they just found their opening. They had Luna happily go in siege. She pulled herself out, and that just kind of forced TNC to be a bit all over the place.
That's a great point. The Slark got picked off a lot, and it wasn't just the Ancient one. He lost Aegis, which would have meant that probably TNC would have won the fight after.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
They grouped up, they got Aegis, they blew him up. They killed the Slardar once, and then they killed the Aegis, and then the next fight goes bad for TNC, and it's like, oh, that was the fight they needed to win. Their head, they didn't win the fight, it went even. They had Aegis advantage, but they lost it. So that was good movement from Mineski basically in the late game, plus good team fighting. They set up everything they needed to do to make it even, and then they won the fight that they needed to, which put them in this position.